Well, hello, everybody. Today we are joined by Dawn Denham, who is the program or director of leadership, I should say, of the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. So, Dawn, thanks for being with us today.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Well, I think a lot of people have heard, of course, about the Chamber of Commerce, and people have heard about leadership programs, but maybe many people don't know really what the whole leadership program at the Chamber is all about. So maybe fill us in on what it's all about.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. So Leadership Northern Kentucky is a leadership program for professionals in the Northern Kentucky region. We are in our 42nd year of best classes ever, as many alumni love to tout. And this is actually the beginning of my fourth class leading the program. So it's approximately 45 to 50 professionals that go through a 9-month-long program that immerses them in our region, helps them to connect to one another and all kinds of organizations that make this a great place to live and work and raise a family. But more importantly, we try to bring to their attention issues for the region and how they can plug in to help solve those issues.
Well, and it's amazing to think that this is over 4 decades long. And by the way, I went from the best class really of 2000.
Right.
But the amazing thing about this is, I would argue, is connections, right?
Yes.
In addition to the learning that everybody has about all these facets of our Northern Kentucky region, but just connections and people that you have. Can anybody apply? How does that work? Does it cost any money?
Yeah, absolutely. So historically, the way that the process works is around March, we call for nominations. And so initially, someone has to be nominated to apply for the program. We do welcome self-nominations as well. And then that process triggers the application. Once the application is submitted, we do class selection and normally make that announcement and decision around July. Every year, we do have a lot more applicants than we do have space for, because it's hard in normal years to logistically move 50 or so people around the region to learn about things. And so we've just announced our most recent class, our 42nd class, and you can find that information on Leadership Northern Kentucky's Facebook page. And it's going to be another great year of classes. We have over 1,350 alumni of this program now in our region.
Wow.
Yeah.
And to think that every one of these individuals comes from all walks of life, men and women, young and old. There's no age limitation, right?
Right.
Whether you're near retirement or you're just getting started. Now, there is a youth component as well, right?
There is. We have a very similar modeled program for rising juniors. So when you're a junior in high school coming in over that year, and that they actually just had the retreat yesterday at Camp Ernst, their outdoor retreat, socially distanced with their mask on, but it's a similar type of program, monthly sessions to learn about things in our region, different content like economic development, law and justice, government, community vibrancy, inclusive leadership, things like that. So we do have a youth program as well. But yeah, I mean, it's for all different professions. And what's exciting about it is when I look across the region, our alumni are the people who are leading organizations and cities and counties and businesses. And so it's exciting that it does connect you at a point in your career, that you keep those connections forever.
Now, and I speak for myself here. You know, I think in my class I had Trey Grayson, who of course was Secretary of State at one time, and Beth Sewell, who's one of our county commissioners, Dave Hatter, who is our Fort Wright mayor, and the list goes on and on. And to think that now that's been 20 years, and what we hopefully we're doing all good things, but you think about that ability to learn about parts of our community that only would have happened because of the chamber in the leadership program. And you've got to feel like you're able to change, to really change our community by helping to facilitate this effort.
Absolutely. One story that I wanted to share with you that was super cool, at orientation last Friday, we had 3 alumni from last year's class actually come back and kind of just give advice to the incoming class. And the perspectives that they came with were just so descriptive of what Leadership Northern Kentucky does for people. The first class member is an entrepreneur, and he said, I was the guy coming into the program saying, I'm not a suit wearing guy. These people are like so much more connected and so much more successful than me. That's not true. If you're sitting here today feeling like that's you, you're about to have like 50 new friends that you're going to be connected to. They accepted me. I learned so much. And then you had that person who's been in the region their entire life, which is, I always tell that story about myself when I went through and graduated in 2010. I've lived in Northern Kentucky my whole life, but I learned so much more. And then we had Nick Wade from Renaissance Covington through, and he, you know, had just moved in from out of town. He had been through other leadership programs, and he was kind of like, gosh, I don't have time for this right now. And do I really need this? And his message was, yes, you do. You have time for this. And then Mark Collier was the president of last year's class, and he said, this is the best thing that you're going to do for yourself this year. I promise you. And so just hearing from alumni in that way, you know, really has an impact on me as the director of the program to say, we have to do this year, now more than ever, really.
And to that point, you're learning a lot, and I'm sure there's never, unlike ever before, there's never debate, never disagreement, right? Everybody's all
right. Right.
So now you've got to deal with COVID, and you're doing this now mostly virtual, I guess, and that's going to be what you're doing at this point.
We are, yes. So we are trying to create a program this year. And for those that don't know, I don't decide what goes into the content of a day. We have, from those 1,350 alumni, over 80 alumni that volunteer every year to plan those individual session days. And so they're really the subject matter experts who will decide exactly what that day should look like. Any opportunities that we have for small group gatherings as the class is comfortable doing so, we want to try and give those experiences to them. But yes, as you mentioned, I think the vision really this year is kind of a hybrid model. So an example would be a month in advance of a session, you get your gift card to Big B to go and have your breakfast. You get your tickets to go to the Freedom Center and to the Holocaust and Humanities Center. You get your gift card for lunch at Camp Barossa, wherever it may be. And so you have your whole session day that you can kind of go and do the experiences either with your classmates if you're comfortable, or with your family, or even on your own, depending on how you're comfortable. And then the day culminates with us actually on the session day having a virtual opportunity to do those things that you can do from anywhere. You can hear a keynote or hear from a panel, just like this morning with Eggs and Issues. We can have those types of experiences and not necessarily have to be in the same room together. That's
great. Well, in the classes, we could talk about so many of the impacts that the alumni have had on this region, and really, quite frankly, probably the entire part of the country we're in. Yes. And really appreciate your continued direction and leadership there. And of course, the Chamber's commitment to this program is one of the most important things I think the Chamber can do. So thanks so much. And before we end, one thing, if there was one thing you'd wish that everybody knew about Northern Kentucky Leadership Program, what would it be that to pass on?
I think we kind of touched on it, Judge Knochelmann, but it's that you actually are making meaningful connections to other people and to our region in a way that keeps you here and makes you want to be here.
Well said. So think about yourself being a participant. Think about somebody else who you might like to nominate. And there's always going to be another class, but hopefully everyone continues to apply and do great things as part of what the Chamber always does. So thanks so much, Dawn.
Great. Thanks for having me.